wanted to show you this little book here. This is an altered book. This is one of those Reader's Digest little leather-bound books that you can get. I pick up quite a few, or I've picked up quite a few. This is just a hairband that keeps it up together, I should say. Yeah, just the local supermarket that has a charity stall with just used books, and an awful lot of these come in to it, and I just buy them. It's £1, so it doesn't cost you very much, and it's going to charity. This one, for some reason, it actually looked Asian to me, like an Asian theme, and don't ask me why, but it kind of reminds me of bamboo, even though it looks nothing like bamboo, but that's what it does. So I thought this would be a great one to make into another Japanese theme. This one I actually might, the other one that I showed you with the rings, it's got more information stuff in it, the things that I'm liked, and I was going to use it for writing in what I'm learning in Japanese wise, the language, but I think this one would be better because I could also slip this one into my bag because it's actually quite slim. And with the band on it, it just keeps it together. And as you can see here, I've put a ribbon with the Union Jack, and it's in blues, so it matches the navy of the cover, which is really quite nice. And I've put this, it had the title of the book over there, so I just got this little print here. I think it was from a website called Teen Fox, I'm not sure, but it's like a kitsune, fox spirit, Japanese fox spirit, which I love all that mythology. So then when we open it up, the original page in the book, these pages was, as you can see, it's a kind of a lotus flower, which I thought was great. I really liked that. So I just left it in, and then I've just just attached this page to the back of that, and then just started with the pages that I've sewn in. And it's some vintage papers. I've put little pockets where I've added in all sorts of images, vintage images. I'm not going to go through them all because I would be here forever, and I'm sure you don't want to see it. And this is an envelope. It's not the proper one. I should have had it, that way, but the tree was going up that way, and I thought it was really nice. And we just keep going through, and there's tags and things like that, and more of the papers, more tags and images. I really like that little image there. These are all, these little ones, I just sort of add a little bit of whimsy to it. It's images of yokai, which are Japanese monsters or demons. I just thought it would be nice. And there's vintage newspapers. So like I said, this one is probably going to be used for the Japanese language that I'm learning. I can write it in here, I can keep it in my bag, so when I'm out and about, and if sitting, travelling somewhere, or on the train, which is travelling somewhere, waiting, like I had a hospital appointment, things like that this week, I could have just had something like this, and then you can just look at it, study, as you see, to be creative with your time. And these are, I like these ones. These are sort of vintage Japanese animal prints. There's a few of these through it in the vintage newspaper. I've got things like this in it, which I might actually find more. I've got all different websites that I'm on just to learn Japanese with. Another tag, another envelope. I just love this book. I made it and instantly fell in love with it, and I just can't stop looking through it, even though I know everything that's in it. I made it. I just absolutely love it. So it's going to be something very easy to use. because like I say, there's just lots of things in it that I absolutely love. All these pictures, it's on white cards, the blank, so I can actually write in them as well. I love this paper here. This is what was on at the beginning there, if you remember. And we just keep going through, and there's more of the vintage paper. So yeah, this is easy. It's a perfect size just for slipping into my bag, as opposed to the one that had the rings on it. Even though I absolutely love that one as well, and I've actually been using that one. I've jotted down Japanese restaurants in London, so when I go down there, visiting down to England and whatever, I could stop by some of these restaurants. I've jotted down their opening times and their addresses. I've even printed off some sample menus and put that in the journal as well. So it's got a nice fat envelope that's just been put in. I'm going to need bigger rings if I'm not careful. So it's getting put to use as well, and I was going to use it for writing what I'm learning of the language. This is another envelope there. Vintage map of Japan. So yeah, it won't go to waste, but this one, I think I will use this one for learning the language, which I had started and you know I was doing okay with, but then I haven't done it for about a year and a half now. And to keep knowledge of a language, you need to use it, and I haven't used it at all, so I'll really just be starting at the beginning again, but that's okay, I don't mind. And I will at some point in the future. I would love to be able to spend a few months in Japan. I think just to do it justice, my kids would love to go and visit all the anime places in Tokyo and go around in the shops. I would rather do all the cultural side of things. I'd like to do the shrine walk that you can do visiting, I don't know, how is it, 100 shrines or something? I can't remember, it's not as many as that. All that sort of thing. I would love to do that, so we could maybe compromise. This is a nice little map of Tokyo, and I do have some vintage ones in amongst these images somewhere. I'd also like to get one for Kyoto. Oh, the sun's coming out, it's making shadows. But yeah, like I say, I just love this book. I think when you make something, and you've made it for a purpose that you want, and if you love it, it's so much easier to use. Although sometimes you're looking at it and you're going, do you really want to spoil it by writing in it? But it's what its purpose is for. And there's just a little newspaper thing there, and another little envelope. Pardon me. So yeah, that is so this will be my Japanese language learning book, and there's a lovely lotus image on the back as well. And I can just slip that into my bag, because once this band is on, like you say, it does tend to start opening up. But once this band is on, and I've got a nice navy one to match the book, it holds it nice and closed, so it doesn't pop open in your bag and all your pictures and that fall out. And then I can just sit, if you're at a waiting room or on the train, I can just look through this. Okay, bye.